Let's talk about how to choose a WordPress hosting service. This is an important topic. So here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. So when you think about WordPress hosting, let's first define what we're talking about here. So WordPress is actually an open source content management system, CMS, used to build and maintain websites. So WordPress hosting is a type of hosting that provides resources that are specifically optimized for WordPress websites. In other words, you can't really, like if you have a non-WordPress website, you do not want to go with the WordPress hosting because then you'll be losing some kind of capabilities there. So while there are specific hosting plans for WordPress websites, site owners can use any hosting provider to host their websites since regular hosting plans are suitable for WordPress as well. Now, one thing I want to say here is that, it's one of those things where you have flexibility, you have scalability, but if you really are serious about your WordPress website, let's say you have an important blog and the blog is actually attracting tons of traffic, and you really want to really sustain that traffic, it's just better to go with WordPress hosting as opposed to going with generic hosting because again, as I said before, the capabilities are not really there in the latter. It's just better to go with WordPress hosting. So sometimes you hear terms such as WordPress hosting, but you also hear managed WordPress hosting. So let's talk about what managed WordPress hosting really means. So we have a clear segregation of concepts here. So managed WordPress hosting is basically a service that provides website owners hosting with the most advanced technologies to ensure that the website is both fast and secure. This is important: speed and security. I mean, again, if I go back to the example I gave a little earlier, in terms of high traffic blog or high traffic e-commerce websites, you want to pay attention to speed and security. Okay, if you have a side project, or if you have like a small, like if you have let's say a passion blog or a passion site, not a problem. But if you have something commercial or an important topic, then you really want to have this sort of capabilities. Okay, managed hosting will take care of issues such as backups, security checks, and updates for plugins, for example. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. So let me talk to you about how to choose a WordPress hosting service. So let me give you the steps you need to really pay attention to here. So first of all, it's important to really understand that you have to have a clear idea about the types of web hosting services. So the type of hosting you choose is really important to how the website will function, especially if it gets a ton of traffic, right? The types of web hosting services are: you have a shared hosting, you have VPS, you have dedicated server, you have cloud hosting, you have managed hosting, and you have co-location. Let's dig a little deeper here so we have a clear idea. So again, the whole thing is about WordPress hosting, but within that WordPress hosting, you need to have a clear idea about the different categories of hosting. So shared hosting keeps your domain on the name server as other websites, sharing resources. So because the resources are shared, this plan is less expensive than other hosting types. Okay, hosting types is really, so this is for shared hosting. And what about VPS? Well, though a shared server is used, the VPS dictates actually the kind of space you have to go to, the kind of space your website goes to. And the VPS also dedicates a space on the server specifically for your websites. While this type of server performs better than shared hosting, it may still not be enough to handle high traffic websites. Again, by high traffic websites, I'm talking here about what? E-commerce platforms, or let's say a high project website, commercial projects, so on and so forth. You have a dedicated server. The website gets its own dedicated server, offering the most control to the website owner. Control comes by way of admin access to manage things such as security and operating systems. These are expensive types of hosting. You also have cloud hosting. This uses a network of computers that allows the website to engage as many resources as needed without having to build a computing infrastructure. Because work is distributed across several servers, there is a lower chance of the website going down. You also have managed hosting. So this is a hosting plan that offers technical assistance as part of your subscription. Assistance include configuration, maintenance, hardware replacement, patching, updating, and monitoring. Many hosting plans are managed. You also have co-location. This is where you rent space in racks and cabinets to take care of your own server needs. The space provides the power, bandwidth, IP address, and cooling system while you provide all the hardware and software to make it work. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to actually choose a WordPress hosting service. There are a couple of things you need to really pay attention to in terms of the features you want to, like the criteria you have to go by. You have speed. You want to look at uptime. You want to look at security. You want to look at server number and location, and also the customer support. Let's first talk about the speed. So you want to find a WordPress hosting plan that dedicates resources to making sure your site loads and operates quickly. And that's what you want. This is important. Why? Because research shows that sites taking longer than 2 seconds to load have visitors leave before viewing the content. It doesn't matter whether you have a WordPress site or a regular site, you want to load as fast as possible. And also uptime. So when your website is down, visitors can't view the content, especially when you are talking about your WordPress e-commerce platform or your WordPress blog or your WordPress high traffic project. Visitors cannot view the content. This can cost can cost the business owner money, as visitors might not return when the site is up and live. This is why you need to have a hosting plan that ensures sites remain up and live. And so many hosting companies offer an uptime guarantee. So look for one that is 99.99% of the time or more. Also security. Hosting platforms, especially the WordPress hosting platforms, should have the tools in place to help keep your WordPress website from being hacked. This is actually an added layer of security on top of the tools you employ on your specific WordPress websites to maintain security protocols. This is really cool. You also have the server number and location. So ideally, you are able to get a server that is near your target audience to help ensure speed of delivery. So while not all WordPress hosting companies offer a choice of where the server is located, if you have the option, choose one in the same geography as your audience. This always helps. Also think about customer support. So most website owners are not professional web developers, so you'll likely have a ton of questions when launching and maintaining your websites. So having a WordPress hosting provider that offers 24/7, 365 support is kind of critical to handling issues as they arise, and you need to have that. You also got to think about pricing, okay? So when we talk about WordPress hosting, it's important to really pay attention to pricing. Now, what does WordPress hosting cost? Most WordPress hosting plans have a price range that falls between $1 and $40, in some cases $50 per month, depending on the type of hosting that you choose. And plans actually that dedicate more resources to your website will cost more, that's for sure. So if you talk about dedicated hosting, you will pay more than shared hosting for sure. So this includes being on your own server or having higher speeds. You can keep your costs down by having a shared hosting plan, of course. So when we talk about hosting plans, you are looking at what's important for you in terms of capabilities. So the hosting plans start at about $1 per month, and the domains average $10 to $20 per year. Emails, you're paying about $10 per month. And WordPress themes, free to $200. So that's the delta, that's the interval, that's the range you have to pay attention to. So the main cost of WordPress hosting is the subscription plan itself, but there may be other costs associated with having a functional website hosted. Of course, when you think about it, WordPress web hosting is only one factor that plays into the total cost of building and maintaining a WordPress websites. So it's one of those things where you have to see what really goes into your website, what really works for you. So now there are a few questions you need to really ask to evaluate your WordPress hosting needs. And it doesn't matter your niche, it doesn't matter your operational stage, whether you're a new business or whether you're a mature business in a mature industry. You got to ask a few questions all the time. So what type of site do you manage? Determine if your website will be an e-commerce store, blog, or a basic business website. What is your technical skill level? Do you need more technical help from the support team, or are you capable of handling the implementation and management of the website? Find a WordPress hosting plan that meets your needs. How much traffic do you expect to have to your WordPress site each month? The more traffic you get, the more bandwidth and CPU usage you need. Select a plan that gives you plenty of both so your website doesn't slow down. Do you need to migrate your site from an existing host? There may be processes or costs involved that you need to address. Make sure you understand what's entailed before you commit to a new hosting plan. And what is your budget? Make sure that the WordPress hosting plan meets your budget needs. Remember that most hosting plans offer a promotional price for the first 12 months, so make sure you can afford the cost after the promotional period. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to choose a WordPress hosting service. The thing is, when we talk about choosing a WordPress hosting service, you got to really pay attention to, so besides price, you got to really pay attention to a few other things, okay? So pricing is an important element, that's for sure. I mean, you want to make sure that the pricing is not really breaking the bank. That definitely makes sense. We fully agree with that. But beyond that, beyond the pricing, you got to pay attention to a few other things. Like, what are the features you are looking for? What kind of features are you paying attention to? The thing is that basically, when we talk about a WordPress hosting service, you have primary features such as the storage and bandwidth limit, of course. You have one-click WordPress installation, especially with the addition of the Softaculous sort of plugin. You have free site transfer, free domain name, free SSL certificates, and uptime guarantees. That's for sure. Now, there are other features that you might want to think about in terms of your WordPress choice. You might want to think about the free business email, website builder, for instance, free domain privacy, enhanced security features, and automatic backups, for instance. Those are really important elements as well. Okay. And also think about third-party reviews. I mean, if you want to make sure that your WordPress hosting service is one of the best in the market, you really want to make sure that there is some kind of social proof attached to that name, to their reputation, so you have a clear idea that you're getting yourself the best deal ever. This is kind of important. And so you also want to think about, you want to look at videos such as this one, or blogs. You can read third-party reviews. That way you have a clear idea. So the third-party reviews can come from the customers, but also can come from experts such as us, such as our team, who have done research, who have done some kind of investigation and are providing you some independent sort of research. So long story short, before you choose a WordPress hosting service, make sure that you have a variety of research sources so that you can actually make sure in the end that you have the best of the best in terms of aggregated data. Let me give you a few extras here. So the thing is, when we talk about the best WordPress hosting service, you have a lot of them, but we have seen based on our research, and we have an entire video that really discusses that Ionos, one-on-one Ionos is a great player in the field when it comes to WordPress hosting. You also have HostGator, and you also have Bluehost. So those are the three best WordPress hosting providers that our research yielded. So of course, things are changing all the time. A2 is doing a great job also. We have seen also Liquid Web. Liquid Web is really it's really trying to really do something on that front, but Ionos, HostGator, and Bluehost are right now as of the best. And we also love the fact that if you were to actually go with WordPress, you have the ability to actually have a website that offers both free and paid hosting, so you are able to get things done. One thing I need to say here is that WordPress offers both free and paid hosting services on WordPress.com. So it's one of those things where some people are just drawn to WordPress.com because they think it's just they can just get the best of the best there. Yeah, of course, but you also have those other players that I just mentioned earlier. It's one of those things where WordPress Premium does not actually include hosting. If you were to go with the WordPress.com, A WordPress Premium is a hosting plan that provides up to 13 gigabytes of storage, premium themes, and monetization features, but you actually can get better services elsewhere as well. One thing I want to say here is that when we talk about WordPress hosting, just keep in mind that you can actually build a WordPress site without hosting. Not a problem. I mean, you can build a WordPress site. Like hosting is not really a mandatory sort of alternative here. You will do, if you want to build, let's say, a WordPress site without buying a hosting plan, you will do this on WordPress.org, where the site is hosted for free. But of course, I mean, nothing is really free here because you're going to have to actually spend some money on third-party plugins. But hey, listen, the hosting itself is free. And you can also host a WordPress site on your own server. Not a problem. Just keep in mind that if you are migrating from a WordPress.org or a WordPress.com server, you may need to rebuild the site on a new domain managed on the server. So it's one of the, if you are great, if you are fine in terms of capabilities, you are good to go. Not a problem. Let me give you a bonus here. So when we think about WordPress hosting, you need to really understand that you do need to have all kinds of capabilities, and it's one of those things where you are changing the stuff all the time, and everything depends upon what really works for you. What I want to say here is that when we talk about the WordPress in general, you are able to get things done based on the kind of configuration you have. Let me first break it down for you. You can transfer your WordPress site to a new host, not a problem. So just follow this sequence to transfer your WordPress site to a new host. Back up your websites. Back up the WordPress structured query language, the SQL database. You want to export the database itself. You want to create a new SQL database on the new host plan. You want to import the database files to the new SQL database. Upload your backed up site files to the new host. Configure your domain name server, your DNS, to reflect the new host. So this is the kind of sequence you want to follow to get things done the proper way. And so you actually can find out pretty easily where your WordPress site is hosted. Just you want to search for the domain name in the ICANN website. Use the name server you find in the details to ping the server and find out if the hosting is operational. And the cool thing is that you can actually host multiple WordPress sites on one server, not a problem. If this is great for your operational scalability or your operational flexibility, it's totally possible. You can. This is a shared server configuration that may slow down some site functions because resources are used by all websites hosted on the server. Yes, but it is possible. And a self-hosted WordPress site is one that is hosted on a third-party hosting sites instead of on WordPress.org or WordPress.com. And when we talk about the difference between shared and managed hosting, well, with shared hosting, the key thing is that your WordPress website shares a single server and other resources with several other websites. Additionally, with this hosting, you are responsible for maintaining your own website. When it comes to managed hosting, everything is taken care of for you, including the implementation of features, standard website maintenance, automatic backups, and updates. And you are able to keep your WordPress site secure through a compilation of security protocols. And one of the best ways to keep your WordPress site secure is to use a hosting service for sure. These sites offer a number of security measures, such as providing a secure sockets layer, certificates, SSL certificates for your site, which really establishes an encrypted link between site visitors and your website. And most sites also offer a free backup of your data so that if there is an issue, a copy of everything you supply to them is available in a backup form. And these sites also monitor their servers around the clock, so if there are issues, they can address them immediately. Other ways that you can help keep your WordPress site secure are to make sure that you install all recommended updates from WordPress promptly. Choose a strong passwords, back your site up yourself frequently, and revise them frequently, and delete any unused or outdated files, themes, and plugins. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I just spoke to you about how to choose a WordPress hosting service. So let me do a quick recap here. So I gave you the overview, the steps, the pricing, the extras, and now the bonus. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.